What's up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. I hope you guys are doing well and that your trading week has been successful, whether it is a winning week or a losing week. I have a couple of scalps I want to show you guys this evening from yesterday's session. First scalp is going to be a quick, I believe it was around 13, 14 points in just under 30 seconds. And the second scalp is going to be a longer trade where I waited for structure to break and still pretty quick. I think it was a 2 or 3 minute trade on the second trade that you guys will see. But it took a lot of patience, and I want to kind of break down the structure that I saw that I was looking to see either hold or break. We got the break, and I will give you guys some details on my thought process on both of these trades. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with this first trade here on NQ. This is my first trade of the day yesterday, October 18th. You can see here that we've got some good oscillator structure. We've got the oscillators curling and crossing up. We have bullish divergence right here, and we have a higher low. And that is a high probability entry that I like to take, and we call the three-step shift in TTN, and we've been trading it for years at this point. It is similar to a head and shoulders or an inverse head and shoulders, which has an extremely high hit rate when taken in the right conditions. But because it doesn't always look like a head and shoulders, we kind of renamed it to the three-step shift, and the three steps are as follows. Our first step here to look out for is a directional market. So you can see we clearly have a down move off of the open here. And our second step is bullish divergence in the case of a reversal to the upside. And our third step is a higher low. So I entered on step 3, of course, and that is how you work this strategy here. And I even entered a little late because technically the higher low is confirmed right here on this bar. So I will go ahead and click play, and we can watch this play out. You guys can see how quick it is. Tried to get filled on 2 contracts, only got filled on 1. And typically, if I don't get filled in a couple of seconds, I just get rid of, the orders that don't get filled. So that's what you guys see here. And this is, pretty cut and dry here. I've got my stop loss at my level of invalidation, which is at this low. Basically, the idea was if this low were to break or even really get retested and get invalidated, then my trade is no longer valid as well. So very, very quick trade there. You can see I started the video and, by 30 seconds in here, this is real time, mind you, I am out for a quick 14 and a quarter point scalp. So entered at 11,324, exited quickly at 11,338 as we tested this prior support level, which I was thinking could be resistance. But generally, I just really wanted to close the trade, secure some profit, as this was a quick, high probability setup. And this is kind of my bread and butter. I don't really hold for long trades. I typically am going for between 10 and 20 points on my scalps, and that is exactly what I got here. So I will load up the next trade. It was actually my last trade, the one that you guys will see next. And it was a really quick day. I kept it short and sweet, a couple high probability setups, nothing crazy. P&L wise, I think I ended the day around $1,400 up. But this is a good example of, how if you even are trading with small contract size, 1 contract or even micros, you can wait for the right time to enter, wait for your high probability setups that check all of the technical boxes, if you will, and be done for the day in a matter of, seconds to minutes. So give me a sec. I'll load up the next video and we will get right back into it. All right, so here we are, trade number 2. And you guys can see here it was about $1,080 in 2 to 3 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And this video is much longer, so I'm going to fast forward. But the main idea here is that I wanted to show you the structure that I was looking for to break. So first and foremost, we had this trend line, or a probe as we like to call them in TTN. We had some nice touches here, multiple touches here, creating an upwards trend line. We then broke that trend line. We came back to retest it and reject it. Now you can see that we had a nice support area here around the London opening range low. This is an opening range indicator. We call it opening range tune. It is a part of the TTN proprietary indicator package. And the idea here was that I was waiting for this probe to break. We got rejection there, which is also a trade opportunity in itself, to be fair. I could have entered there, but I missed that trade, and I did not want to FOMO in. So what I did was I waited for a while. I waited about 10 minutes at least. So I'm going to fast forward here. You can see once again, that structure very clearly broke. We very clearly broke this area, this little range that we were operating in, if you want to call it that. And we proceeded to get some downwards pressure. So that is my cue to begin looking for a short trade, right? I ask myself, who's in control if structure breaks? Sellers are very clearly in control if structure breaks. So then I am basically just sitting patiently, folded with my hands in my lap, right? And I am waiting for a test of the opportunity zone. We got a little test here, still inside of the opening range, so that was not something that I was interested in taking, and we didn't really get even a candle close or a candle at all to get into the op zone. We just had a wick right there. So I'm talking about this area right here. We just had a wick on the 21. That's not good enough for me. I want to be very picky, especially if I am being patient and waiting for my highest probability setups. So you can see that price continued to move down, didn't really get any opportunity zone test. I decided to zoom in a little bit to just get a better eye so I can actually snipe the first attempt or the first test of the opportunity zone. So price continues to move here. You can see that we have a couple of major levels, Fibonacci pivot R2, as well as the first lower deviation of VWAP. You can see VWAP itself right here. This is the first standard deviation, the first lower standard deviation to be precise. So that is something that gets me interested, right? When I see major levels in or around the opportunity zone, that is even higher probability, because if I can position myself inside the op zone, not only will I have protection from the 50 EMA, I'll have protection from R2 as well as that VWAP deviation. So I'm going to go ahead, continue to click play, and this is where I started to enter, right? So we get the push into the op zone. We get some selling pressure, and it could be argued that I entered even a little early on this trade because I didn't wait for the candlestick confirmation to close below the low. So, you know, not perfect, something that I can work on, something that I can be patient for. And if I were to, you can see that I actually added as we got that candle close confirmation. So just to be exceptionally clear here, this purple bar, this bearish bar, closed below the low of the prior bar, and that got me in for another contract because that was the actual confirmation that I was looking for, and that's typically what I look for to enter. So I'm in for one now. Boom, we get the close. Then I'm in for two. I'm adding to my winning trades. We only want to add to trades that are moving in our favor. We never want to double down or add to losing trades. It is a loser's game. It is a terrible habit to build, and I want to be very clear about that. I never add to losing trades. I only add to trades that are moving in my favor. So I'm going to click play here. You can see that I leave my stop loss where it is. I've got excellent protection from Fibonacci pivot R2, the first lower deviation of VWAP, and the 50 EMA here. I am not worried that we're getting a bullish bar pushing back in my direction. I am not concerned. I have oscillator confluence here. I have the BBWP, which is a volatility oscillator, curling and crossing up, which is confirming or giving me more confluence or confirmation that we are likely to get volatility expansion, right? So just to be clear here, if the oscillators are moving down, if we are in a downtrend and a volatility indicator is telling me that we are likely to get an expansion in volatility, what direction do you guys think the volatility is going to expand in? You guessed it, to the downside. So this just, again, further gives me confidence in my trade. You know, in these situations, I am not getting scared. I'm not considering closing my trade at all. If price moves back up to my stop and stops me out, so be it. I am on to the next trade and possibly have, you know, another trade in the upside direction. So this is, you know, pretty simple once you wait for your entry and you get into your high probability entry. I'm waiting for these lows to break. You can see basically as soon as these prior lows break, we get a nice spring and a reaction, which is likely a bunch of people long here with their stop losses just below that prior low. And those stop losses are a great opportunity to run them and propel price further downwards. So another thing that I want to point out here that I was discussing on stream, once again, this trade was taken live on stream in the TTN private Discord. We had this prior high from Friday, I believe it was, Friday the 16th, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if I'm not getting my dates right, but this was the level that I was looking at. So you can see right here on the profile, this is where we're operating. We are breaking this overnight high. So my thought was, if we break this 253 overnight high, we're very, very likely to see a test of this 11,207 area. So that is exactly where I was targeting. And you can see that I have, oh, the high from October 14th. I'm sorry. It was right in front of my face and I didn't even see it. So that was my target for this trade right here. And you can see that I drew a little zone there because it's important to consider these zones, you know, important areas and not necessarily static lines. And that's why I'm always front running major levels on my targets. If you guys watch a lot of my trading videos, you'll see that I'm never really putting my target right at a level because it's more likely that price is going to either front run that level or, you know, in some cases run through it. So this is, once again, real time. Price runs these prior lows, as we were talking about, gets a real nice reaction, and I'm continuing to hold my trade, continuing to wait to see if I see a change in behavior as far as buyers step in. I'm watching the oscillators because if the oscillators curl and cross up, we're likely to get a little pushback, pullback, if you will, in the opposite direction. So you can see I pull one off there. I'll rewind it just briefly so you guys can watch. So I have two on. As soon as we start to get a little bit of curl in the oscillators to the upside, I pull one. I'm watching the candlestick structure, and basically as soon as we print or get close to printing a local low, that is when I'm out of both contracts and I am locking my profit in. So just watching the candlesticks, you can see that there's a clear difference in, you know, this very strong push to the downside, and now we are getting a little bit of pushback. The oscillators are curling and crossing up, and I move my stop to break even, and I continue to watch and I continue to wait to determine when is a good time to pull off this last contract. You'll notice, once again, if you guys watch a lot of my scalping videos, I really don't care about holding to target. My most important thing that I'm focusing on is watching price and letting the market tell me when it is time to take profit. And yeah, I think price might have come down here eventually, but when we get, you know, a little bit of stalling action, when I see the oscillators postured in a way that, you know, is really what I look for to take a long trade, I'm not really interested in holding the trade that much further. So short and sweet. I know my explanation and my breakdown was not short and sweet, but this was a very quick trade. It played out in, I believe, 2 to 3 minutes. We can go back and see. Let's see. I entered right around 8:35 my time, 10:30 Eastern. And let's see, completely out of the trade right around 8:37, 8:38. So 2 to 3 minutes locked in. I believe it was around $1,100 in that 2 to 3 minute trade, 2 contracts. And let's see, I'll pull up the labels there so you can see that my entries, call it an average of like 253-ish, you know, something like that, right in the middle of the op zone, and exited one contract at 224 and another one at 228. So I kept it short and sweet yesterday, only took a couple of trades, and that is really all I need on most days when I'm trading in the zone. You know, typically you guys, I'm sure, will notice in your own trading that less is more in most situations. So the days that I'm trading less, I'm taking less executions, those are typically the days where I'm doing even better. If I'm taking more trades, then that usually means that I'm having to dig out of a hole, you know, starting in the red and then, you know, trading my way out of the red, for those of you guys not familiar with that phrase. And just overall, you know, if I need to spend more time in the market, I'm probably not as in the zone as I am, you know, when I'm trading like this. And you can see how long I waited, right? Like you can look at this video and I waited for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, which doesn't seem like a long time in hindsight, but you guys should know, especially if you're trading on a daily basis, you know, every single tick is, or can feel like it is, very impactful, right? And you can try to like scope out opportunity from every single candle and get very granular and try to dissect every little bar and try to find opportunity and, you know, basically have a Jesus toast situation where you try to see what you want to see, right? You see yourself into a setup instead of waiting for a planned setup. I was waiting for a test of the opportunity zone this entire time. I knew exactly what I wanted to see. I waited for it. I was saying on stream that, you know, in situations like this, I feel like I am, you know, hunting in a sense. I'm laying down in the woods with camouflage on and I'm waiting. I'm scoping out my prey. In this case, it was a short op zone trade and it worked beautifully. You know, trading with the trend, I had the wind at my back. That's what it's all about. So I hope you guys are finding value in these breakdowns. I know they are a little bit different and a little bit longer than a lot of my other scalping videos, but I hope that is, you know, for good reason for you guys. I am trying to make it very clear how important it is to really wait for your technical checkboxes to be checked and, you know, do what I did on this trade. I really think that this is a great example of being able to scope out your setup. You know, you can see this structure here on, I believe this is the 1000 tick, same situation here. I was planning for a short op zone all the way up here. As soon as we broke the structure, I knew what I was waiting for. I was patient. I waited for the setup, I pounced on it, and I let it play out. And that is the name of the game when you have a high probability system that you know works over a large sample size of trades, and you can build confidence in that system. So with that said, I hope that you guys are finding immense value with this content once again. If you guys are interested in learning my trading system, this is the Opportunity Zone strategy, which is taught in our Fundamentals of Futures Trading course. You can, of course, find more information about that on the tradingnetwork.io, along with access to our private Discord, which I took this trade that we broke down today on stream live in our private Discord. We trade live Monday through Friday every day starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can also purchase access to the Trading Network proprietary indicator package on our website, as well as the Trading Network Pro Bundle, which includes lifetime Discord access, the proprietary indicator package, and the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course. And last but not least, you can also learn more about one-on-one mentorship with me. Thank you guys very much for taking the time. Again, if you like this content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and click the bell notification to get notified when we post videos. And I will see you in the next video.